Welcome to the Three Mouseketeers, the sibling podcast that understands your Disney addiction. I am your host, Jared.
And I'm your other host, Amanda.
And not with us tonight, again, is Emily, because she did not go on our trip with us. This is a bonus episode. This is our part 2 of mine and Amanda's Disney World trip.
Yay.
Don't get too excited, Amanda.
Well, I'm not at Disney right now, so,
That is a
the
fair
Disney
point.
blues.
Yeah, fair point. So I guess we wanted to continue on. We did our first half of the trip, and we wanted to finish off with our second half. So we have some more dinner reservations, and we wanted to talk about a few other things that we did while at the park. So, Amanda, what's the first portion of this episode? What are we going to talk about?
So our first reservation that we want to talk about was on our 5th day at the parks, and I'm going to really try not to butcher this name. It is called Akershus.
Yeah.
It is Princess Dining at Epcot in Norway.
Yes, and this is obviously not a word that we are familiar with, so we tried. Good attempt, Amanda. I don't know if you got it right or not. I can't tell you, but it sounds about right.
It's close enough, I would think.
Yeah. So how did you like this one?
I thought it was pretty good. That day, my little girl was exhausted, and she wasn't even awake to see any of the princesses.
Yeah, she fell asleep
So
at the
I kind of
table.
feel bad. Well, she fell asleep, I think, before we even walked in, because she didn't even see Belle when we walked in the door.
Oh,
She
no,
was
that's
asleep.
right. Yeah, you're right.
So by this time, she was worn out. So basically, when you first walk in, you see Belle, and you get to take a picture with her. And then they bring you to your table. And the first part, at least for lunch and dinner, you get to have a buffet of appetizers. And it was like cheeses and different things, which was pretty good. And then you get to choose your meal. And my meal was pretty good. Did you like yours?
I did like mine.
I thought it was really good. I was kind of nervous just by the names of some of the things on there because they are very Norwegian names, but I enjoyed my meal.
Yeah, I can see where you're coming from whenever you say you look at the menu and you're just not sure, but trust your instincts. It's good food. It's really not that different than what you're really used to.
Right. You just have to get past the name of what's on it.
Yes. Go in with some
More look at the
confidence.
description.
I believe in you.
And then the princesses come and see you. So we were visited by Snow White and
Cinderella and Aurora.
I believe that was it.
Yes, that's it.
And there are other princesses that sometimes switch around. So sometimes you get to see Jasmine or Ariel. There may be a few others, but on that particular day, those are the ones we were able to see.
Right.
And then at one point, they had a little princess parade. So all the little girls got to go and walk around with the princesses and do the little princess wave. It was super cute.
Well, really all the kids, because I do believe that there were some boys along the parade path as well.
You're right, there were. It just happened to be with the princesses, I guess. So.
Yes. Well, I mean, they did call it the Princess Parade, but I mean, it wasn't just exclusive. Like they didn't kick the boys out and say, no, you're not welcome.
Yeah, I think they even said your little princesses and princes can come up and walk with the princesses, I want to say.
Yes, I believe so.
So that was pretty good. It's a nice way to interact with the princesses. They were a little quick, I think, but you got to see multiple princesses, which was nice, in one spot and didn't have to stand in lines forever.
Yeah, and I really liked the food. The buffet style appetizers, it was very easy to make like a very quick slider sandwich because they had rolls and they had like salami and just cheeses and stuff. So they also had some fruits and some vegetables.
and some salad. It was cool.
So
I
all in
liked
all,
it.
I really like this place.
Yeah, I think it was a good choice.
I agree. Recommended.
The following day, so on the sixth day of our trip, we went to Animal Kingdom. And I did not make reservations for this day, but we were able to walk into Yak and Yeti, the sit down restaurant Yak and Yeti, because we have a Landry's card. So for those of you that don't know, if you have a Landry's card, which costs $25 one-time fee when you sign up, you can go to any Landry's owned restaurant and you don't need a reservation. You could just show up and say, "Hey, I'm here," and they'll find you a table. So with our party of 9, we were seated in like less than 10 minutes, I want to say, which was awesome,
Yeah, I would say that it was about 10 to 15, but it was very quick.
especially with a party that big.
Right. Like if it was a two top, it would have been like, okay, let's get you seated now. But they had
Right,
to wait until somebody left or something to get two tables together, I think.
right. Now, Yak and Yeti is one of my favorite restaurants at Disney World.
This is not our first time to go to Yak and Yeti. It is my second time. I mean, I don't know how often you've been, but I do extremely enjoy this restaurant.
This is my second time as well. And actually, I think for the most part, this is the only restaurant that most of us have been to more than once.
I think most of the other ones, it was my first time,
Yeah,
especially
I think
the first half of our trip.
now here I had teriyaki chicken, so it wasn't anything extravagant on my end. My husband, I think, had the tuna nachos, and he said they were divine and would definitely get those again. So if you're into that kind of thing, definitely try the tuna nachos.
I had the chicken lettuce wraps, the lettuce cups, as an appetizer. And I want to say that I had salmon because I know I ate a lot of salmon at Disney.
Yeah, you were on a little salmon kick there for a while.
Yeah. I mean, it's better than like eating cheeseburgers all day, every day, right?
It's true. It's a much healthier choice.
Yes. I was trying to go a little bit more healthy.
We also did have pot stickers for the appetizer, and those are so good. You
Yeah,
just can't go
they're very
wrong.
good.
Our final day, when everyone was at the parks together, we went to Magic Kingdom and we ate at Liberty Tree Tavern for lunch. What did you think about the meal?
I thought it was really good. This was kind of similar to Ohana in a sense of its family style. They bring like larger plates that everybody shares. And the pot roast
Right.
was really good. I really liked the pot roast a lot.
That was probably my favorite thing that they brought to the table. Well,
Yeah,
besides the sticky toffee pudding at the end, but that's a different story.
yeah, that's a little bit different, but yeah, no, I would agree. Like main portion, I would say that the pot roast was the best.
Yeah, I know we needed a second portion of that
We did,
because everybody loved it so much. So they also had turkey and
and they had
pork,
pork loin. Yeah,
right?
which
Which those were both good too.
they were
They
good.
just weren't as good as the pork
Not
or the
nearly as
pot
good as
roast.
the pot roast.
Right, right. That was yummy. I think I would definitely eat here again. I thought it was good. It felt almost like Thanksgiving dinner.
Kind of, sort of, not quite as much, but yeah, I could see where you're coming from. I think mostly because of the turkey.
Maybe so. It just had that feel, I guess, because it's family style and we were all there together and it was close to Christmas and
Yeah,
I don't know.
it was just like the holiday atmosphere.
Yeah, so that may have been it.
It could have been.
But I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I would eat here again.
Yeah, me too. And that pretty much wrapped up our dining portion of our trip.
Yeah, so I do want to touch on a little bit of something that we both did at separate times, and that was Rise of the Resistance. I did want to talk about this a little bit because we kind of hinted at it on our previous part one of this segment. Yeah, obviously our assistant was able to get us tickets, right?
He's pretty
And
fantastic.
yeah, he's pretty good. I like him a little bit. But no, your husband got us 2 separate days, and he got us boarding passes. So, and not only
Right.
that, but he also got boarding passes for himself on a third day. So he
Right.
is a trooper for sure.
He
Um,
definitely is.
Rise of the Resistance was probably something that a ride that I have never expected. It is immersive. It is just the ride style, the story behind it, uh, the way that they set everything up. It's just all amazing.
The cast interactions, whenever you're going into the ride, to me were awesome too. That kind of made the ride.
Oh yes, for sure. Because it gets you like in the mood. It builds the atmosphere.
Right. Because if they weren't doing what they were doing,
Then it would just be like another queue, and
right,
you would just be standing around just waiting. So,
right. Yeah.
which I mean, even the line queue was pretty good because they have the kind of like at Smuggler's Run, where you can interact with some of the props and stuff there. You can scan the QR codes and play the games and stuff like that while you're in queue. And then they also have an amazing set of props while you're going through the queue.
They do. That was pretty cool to see.
So just the way that they built it was really good. It
I
was very
agree.
well done.
And I know I'm not the one who got up early to do it, but I can definitely say that I would think it would be worth it to get up early to make sure you got a boarding pass for Rise of the Resistance.
Right. So if you're planning a Disneyland trip whenever Rise of the Resistance is just opening, definitely get there really early because you don't want to miss out on the opportunity to get a boarding pass.
And not even just there. I mean, at Disney World, the ride has been open for a month now. And the last week or so, the ride, like all the boarding passes have been gone within like 7 minutes,
Yeah, it's absolutely crazy.
which is worse than whenever we were there after it had just opened. So you definitely need to get there early and be prepared. And I've heard the trick is to not be on your phone, like to have the app closed. And as soon as it hits whatever time they say that boarding passes are going to open, you open up the app and get on.
Oh yeah, to
And
save it from having to refresh.
exactly.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I'm so thankful we were able to ride while we were there with it being so new.
Yes, I
And
agree.
it's really hard to explain the ride without totally giving it away, but it was just really cool.
Yeah, I don't want to necessarily talk about the experience itself. I do want to talk about the ride mechanics though, because it's something that I had never ridden before, but you and I talked about it a little bit, and it's something that Disney has done. I won't necessarily specifically say what other rides that this has been done on, but it is something that Disney was familiar with, and I think they really nailed how to accomplish the theme of
Right.
Rise of Resistance.
Yeah, so they took their experience with the ride mechanics basically from the other rides that they've done similar to this, and they just upped their game with this ride, I want to
Yeah,
say,
yeah,
and made it more immersive.
right. Not to discredit the other rides that has the same mechanic,
Right.
but yeah, I think this is by far, and it's not just the ride itself; it's also everything that they built into building the sets and how everything works. And I think it's
Right.
just one of the most immersive rides I've ever been on.
It is. It's definitely an experience and very much worth it. So definitely do it.
Completely agree. One of the other things that we wanted to talk about were the hotels that we stayed at. So we stayed at two different hotels throughout our trip. We were there. I was there for 7 days. Amanda, you were there for 8 total. The first couple days we stayed at the Polynesian, and this was my first time to stay there. What about you?
This is my first time staying at the Polynesian too. We are DVC owners, and this is one of our home resorts. So I definitely wanted to stay there. I love the feel of the Polynesian and have always wanted to stay there. So I was super excited to finally get to go there.
Yeah, I've always liked the idea of staying at the Polynesian. One of the reasons is because it's a beautiful hotel, and the second reason is because the monorail goes right through it. So I thought that having the access to the monorail would be very good.
Right. Now, my only downside, I would say, is that the rooms are really far apart. Like it's a big piece of property
Yes.
that the Polynesian sits on. And it's not just one building, there are multiple buildings. And I think we were in like the farthest building away from the main area.
Yes.
So that would probably be my only downside. But I really enjoyed the hotel.
So,
If it was raining, that probably would have been a downside
oh,
too.
that would have been terrible if it was raining. I do want to say this, though. Even though we were very far away, we did have a really good view of the Magic Kingdom and the fireworks. So we could just open up the curtains and watch the fireworks.
Right. We had a lake view room, which allowed us to see the fireworks. And actually, that is the only way I saw the fireworks at Magic Kingdom was from our room at the Polynesian.
My daughter and I caught the fireworks as we were walking back. So we stopped at like the shore and we watched some of the fireworks as we were going back to the hotel room. I do want to say this. I walked in the first like 2 days. Each day I walked almost 21,000 steps, and most of that was walking to and from the room.
Yeah, it was a little far, but it's a great hotel. And I really want to go back when I can enjoy that lava pool because that looked awesome.
Oh yeah, I did. We didn't get in the pool there at all. At least I didn't.
No, we didn't either, but it really looked nice and I'm going to have to go back and stay longer so I can enjoy the pool. And Trader Sam's is there, so sometime I'm going to have to go there as well.
Yeah, that does seem really fun, and I'm kind of upset that we missed that.
Yeah, definitely.
The second location that we stayed was the Bay Lake Towers. This is right behind the Contemporary.
Right.
And
So
this was something that I was blown away with, in all honesty.
it was really fantastic. Now, here we were kind of a little spoiled because we had a two-bedroom and it was also a lake view. So we got to see like the water pageant from our window, which was nice. Um, there is a walkway between Bay Lake Tower and the Contemporary. It's a sky bridge, basically, that leads you right into the Contemporary where the shops are and the restaurants. So that's really nice too. And
Monorail access.
monorail access. It's just an easy walk. It's right there. There's also the Top of the World Lounge in Bay Lake Tower. We didn't actually partake in this time, but from that lounge, you can watch the fireworks at night at Magic Kingdom.
Yeah.
And this is something specific for DVC members. And I believe any guests that are staying at Bay Lake Tower can use it as well.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I know that I did go down and get into the hot tub one of the nights that we were there, and I talked to a couple that obviously goes there quite often, and they were talking about the lounge, and they were saying that if you go to the lounge, you have to get the cake. Apparently, it's like some chocolate mousse, something or other. I'm not sure what, but they said that you order the cake, and apparently it's like a whole cake because they said that, oh, well, if you have 9 people in your party, which we did, then that's like the right amount of people to share this cake. I'm like, wow, how big is this cake?
No joke. I guess we'll have to try that next time.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. It's kind of intimidating.
It is. Now, I have stayed at Baylock Tower before, and I stayed in a studio. And I can say I don't know that I'd want to stay in a studio in Bay Lake Tower. They were super duper small, and there were only 3 of us in the room. But whenever you had the sofa bed pulled out, you could barely walk in the room.
Yeah.
So if you're thinking about a studio, there may be better choices for a studio than Bay Lake Tower.
I would assume the size of the studio would be almost like RVing. Like if you have the couch pulled out in an RV, it's very hard to walk around. So that's kind
It
of
was
what
probably tighter.
oh man, that's even
It's
more
it's
terrible.
really small. It's really small. Now, something else I did want to mention is a big selling point for me is that you can walk from Bay Lake Tower straight to Magic Kingdom. I want to say
Yes.
maybe a 10-minute walk.
10, 15, depending on your speed. I think your
Right.
husband could
And
make it
then
in 2.
probably he walks super fast. But you have your own security going through too. And we never were there when there was anyone else in line for security. So you walk up, give them your stuff, and you walk through.
Yes,
It
it
was
is
super fast.
so crazy. Like going through all the parks, and especially me, because I my nickname for the trip was Mr. Pockets because I had my backpack that had 1,000 pockets. So
Yeah.
it would take me so long to get through security because, I would have my power station charger, and I would have like the 2 water bottles, one for me, one for my daughter, and I would have like her jacket or my hat or something. And so I had a lot of stuff, and they would have to look through every single pocket, and I'm like, man, this is this is awful, but I needed the space. So,
Yeah.
but
It was
going
awful.
going through that line was a breeze because, like you
I
said, we would
agree.
get there and nobody would be there. If there were people there at the same time, it was like maybe 2 people.
And the funny thing is that the security guards there started recognizing us and they're like, "Oh, you're back again today."
Yes.
Yes, we are. So they just start conversations with you. It's kind of nice.
Yeah, it's nice. It gives you, and I know that it's not really this, but it gives you a almost VIP experience.
It does. It really does. And I'm sure you can do that same walk from the Contemporary. Um, we just happened to be at Bay Lake Tower. So,
Right. Yeah, and that's a really good point.
one other thing I'd like to say is that bed at Bay Lake Tower was probably the most comfortable bed I've stayed on ever. Did you find that on yours too?
Well, so I have a memory foam mattress and I really like my mattress, but this one was pretty comfortable. I will give it that. It was a comfortable bed.
I know we talked about maybe needing to get one whenever we got home.
I think one of the things that I didn't necessarily like about Bay Lake is that you had to go to the Contemporary to go to any restaurants. They didn't have any restaurants in the hotel.
That is true. I didn't find it all that inconvenient just because the Contemporary is so close. And with that sky bridge, it made it super easy to get there. But you're right. If you're expecting to have food in your hotel, you don't get that at Bay Lake Tower.
Now that I'm thinking about it, in all honesty, it was probably harder to get to the restaurant at the Polynesian than it was at Bay Lake.
I totally agree with that.
Yeah, that's something that I didn't necessarily think about. Yeah, I would say that Polynesian is probably the worst of the two whenever it came to the restaurant distance from the room.
Right, just because of where our room was. Now, at the Polynesian, our room was really close to the ticket and transportation center. So if we had wanted to go to Epcot, we could have walked to the ticket and transportation center and hopped on the monorail there straight to Epcot and not had to ride around the Magic Kingdom monorail first
Right.
and then move over to the Epcot monorail.
Yeah. So you had an extra day. Where did you stay? Because you did move hotels after we left.
We did. Our last night, we stayed at the boardwalk in a 1 bedroom, and it was really nice. We walked in and we were like, wow, this is fantastic theming. The hotel room was really cute. We really enjoyed it. And we had a balcony that had 2 little chairs, and there was one from the living room and one from the bedroom. And they each had 2 little chairs on it that overlooked the pool, which
Oh,
is
very
super
cool.
creepy
Why is that creepy?
because the slide for the pool is a big clown head.
Oof. Okay.
Yeah, and the slide actually comes out of its mouth. So if you're a little afraid of clowns,
Mm-hmm.
you may not want to open your windows if you have a pool view.
That is a very good tip. Maybe just avoid that whole hotel if you have a fear of clowns.
It was really nice, though. The boardwalk area is awesome. They have nighttime entertainment there. ESPN Zone is there. Lots of restaurants on the boardwalk, like sit down type restaurants. There's a boat that you can catch that brings you to Epcot or to the Beach Club and Yacht Club, which is across the way, the water there. You could also take it and catch it to the Swan and Dolphin hotels, which are next to the boardwalk.
I think that's where
So
we
it's a
need to stay
nice area.
next is the Swan and Dolphin.
Well, then you're going to have to pay for those because those are not part of TBC.
It's just it's iconic to see the swan and the dolphin as you're on the property.
That's very true. Now, I do want to mention something about the boardwalk that was kind of a disappointment for us. You had mentioned no food in Bay Lake Tower.
Yes.
There are no quick service in the boardwalk. There's none.
Oh wow.
The only thing is outside the hotel on the boardwalk itself, there is a pizza window that you can go to, and there's a bakery that you can go to. But that is it.
Sounds like pizza window to me.
Well, the day we were there, it was raining.
That's
So,
awful.
with 2 little kids, we didn't really want to leave the hotel to go eat
Yeah.
because it's not a covered pathway to
Right.
this pizza window. It's all outside. So we ended up getting in the car because we had rented a car while we were there. And we went to the beach club because we were told that they had a quick service. It's not really a quick service either. I mean, they have some food that's like preheated and kept warm, but that's really it. It's inside of their store. So it's not a
Oh.
separate quick service restaurant.
Well, that sounds bad
So
too.
there's not really a quick service in that whole area. So that to us was a little disappointing. Having little kids, especially when it's raining, you just don't have any options.
Right.
But it is nice because you can walk to Epcot. You could take the boat to Epcot. You could also walk to Hollywood Studios. I've read that it's like a 15, 20-minute walk to Hollywood Studios. So the location itself is very convenient for a lot of things.
Okay. I mean, a 15 to 20 minute walk is not that bad considering if you park in the parking lot, you're probably going to be walking 10 anyway.
Exactly. That's what I thought.
And then you save money on parking.
Well, if you're staying at a resort,
Oh, you get free
you
parking
get
anyway, right?
free
Yeah.
parking in the parks.
For some
So
reason, I
they're
was
not really
thinking it was
paying.
only DVC was getting free parking, but no, you're right. If you're staying in the hotel, then you would get the free parking. So,
Right. Now, at the hotels themselves, you have to pay to park unless you're DVC. DVC, you get to park for free at the hotel.
okay, it's a good little tip.
Yeah.
Well, is there anything that we missed about our trip? I feel like we covered pretty much everything.
I think we did too. I can tell you my 3-year-old loved Slinky Dog Dash. So if that is an option for you to get a fast pass for it, I would highly recommend doing that. She still talks about it, and we've been home for what, 2 weeks now?
Yeah.
And she mentions it every day, how she wants to go to Disney World and she wants to ride Slinky Dog Dash.
Well, it sounds like we have a fanatic on our hands.
I think so. Raising her right.
Yes. Well, I guess that's going to do it for today's episode. Thanks for listening. You can also be a part of the magic by following the show at T3M Podcast. That's T, the number 3, M Podcast on all social media platforms. Leave us a 5-star written review and we'll read it on an upcoming episode. If you have an announcement that you would like to have on the show or just want to reach out to us, you can do that by sending us an email at t3mpodcast@gmail.com. And since Emily's not here, have a zippity doo-dah day.
See you real soon.